Welcome back to another exciting episode of Star Guides. The episode this week is riding on the heels of my previous Star Guide on trade ships, where we discussed which ships are the best bang for your buck. As promised, we're going to be looking at different ship classes based on price tiers, and today is dedicated to the fighter. No, I don't mean gunships, racers, trade ships with vicious-looking turrets, or bombers with a few death cannons on board. No, today is dedicated to the fighter, those point defense, interceptors, and interdictors. If you're looking to wreak havoc and let slip the dogs of war, get ready for an exciting Star Guide. Up first is Tier 0. Tier 0 this week isn't exactly the same as it was for the trade ships, in which I classified ships as generally unknown. This week, Tier 0 is for a single ship that I honestly can't rank due to its odd nature. The one and only Tier 0 ship is the P-52 Merlin. As a dedicated snub fighter with powerful engines, thrusters, and a decent complement of weapons, why do I lump the Merlin into Tier 0? Easy. The only way to acquire the P-52 Merlin pre-launch is by pledging for the RSI Constellation, which comes in at $225 US. Since this guide is divided up into price points and quality tiers, it makes the Merlin more expensive than some of the highest rated ships. That being said, if you do own a Constellation, congrats on the free fighter, and here's to hoping they will add it to the DFM sooner than later. Moving on to Tier 1 of the Fighter Star Guide, we're going to be looking at the entry-level fighters. These ships are for players who either can't or don't want to invest heavily in Star Citizen, or are potentially more focused in other aspects of the game such as trade or exploration. Up first is the RSI Aurora LN, or Legionnaire. Labeled a militia patrol vehicle, the Aurora LN boasts 8 TR-1 engines, a GD all-stop shield system with a max size of 3, 2 more weapon hardpoints than any other in its class, and a stock RSI jump engine. For only $35 US, this ship is a steal. What's great about the Aurora LN is it's also my favorite for entry-level traders. Buying this ship not only allows you easy access to dogfighting, but trading as well. The second ship of Tier 1 is the consolidated Outland Mustang. This ship was a $26 million stretch goal, and we finally got a look at it on February 28th of this year. As a dedicated pursuit craft, this ship has 5 weapon hardpoints, 2 TR-2 engines, 6 TR-1 thrusters, and a rank 3 power plant. This ship is built to be lightweight, fast, and highly maneuverable. To obtain those benefits, however, its structure is considered somewhat unsafe. The Mustang's ability to push power ratios to the limit makes me nickname this ship the Widowmaker. As a stock pledge price of $25 US, this is the cheapest fighter in the Star Citizen lineup. Between both the Aurora LN and the Mustang, I'm kind of at a loss on which ship to recommend. On one hand, the Aurora LN is far more versatile, has bigger weapons and armor, and comes stock equipped with a jump engine. On the other hand, the Mustang can, on paper, outmaneuver an Aurora all day, staying just out of reach of its guns. Since I have to make a decision, I choose the Aurora LN. Personally, I have never liked flying in a glass cannon. However, the 2 additional hardpoints and shield size of the Aurora LN seal the deal for me. Likewise, with the added stock jump engine, you will be able to jump straight into combat, assisting your friends or organization. At the end of the day, both ships offer cheap options for the entry-level pilot. Next up is Tier 2. The first ship featured as a mid-ranged fighter is the Origin Jumpworks 325A. Designated as an interdiction craft, the 325A comes with a single TR-4 engine, 12 TR-1 thrusters, a Waytech VH-T2 Plus power plant with a max size of 3, an equal amount of weapon hardpoints as the Aurora LN, which is 5, and a Wills-Op custom weapon system. The 325A is unique to the rest of the 300 series ships, as its stock equipment is a custom weapon targeting system that gives it quite the advantage in single ship combat. Sitting at $65 US, the 325A is a great choice for a mid-ranged fighter. Up second in Tier 2 is the Aegis Avenger. Now before we move on, I want to apologize for mispronouncing the word Aegis in my previous video. I have spent my whole life pronouncing Aegis in video games as Aegis, so you can understand my existential crisis and need for an explanation. Anyways, let's talk about the Avenger. The Aegis Avenger is an interceptor interdiction class ship, which is quite similar to the 325 in most ways, except for 3 core features. First, the Avenger has a single TR-5 engine, the first in might be any previous ship to boast those kinds of speeds. Second, it has 4 fewer TR-1 thrusters, making it slightly less maneuverable, and thirdly, it comes stock with the ability to mount fixed heavy weapons. The last variable is difficult to factor. In some situations, a fixed heavy weapon could make all the difference in the universe, but in other situations, it could be useless. Either way, it's $5 US cheaper than the 325A and another great choice for a mid-range fighter. Now that you've seen my top 2 picks for Tier 2, I'm going to have to give the winning ticket to the Origin Jumpworks 325A. This decision was not easy. In fact, I was close to making it a draw. The primary deciding factor was the lack of thrusters on the Avenger. In dogfighting, being able to make tight turns and quick bursts of speed is very important and could most certainly give the 325 pilot an advantage. Now that we've seen the Tier 1 and Tier 2 ships duke it out for space superiority, we're going to put them on the bench for the Tier 3s. Tier 3 consists of the only finest dogfighters in our known Star Citizen universe. If you are looking to make a mess out of your opponent and hear the lamentations of their women's, you've found the right place. Up first is the Anvil F7CM, also known as the Super Hornet. The Super Hornet boasts a single TR-4 engine, 8 TR-2 thrusters, a power plant and shield system with a max rank of 4, a stock Tarsus Leaper jump engine, and a whopping 8 weapon hardpoints. For those of you who appreciate doing things by the numbers, the Super Hornet is a fierce contender for number 1. As a side note, when the dogfighting module launches soon, you'll have access to the base Hornet and not the Super Hornet, if none of your currently owned ships are available to test. In fact, the smallest ship I own is the Cutlass, so I will definitely have a lot of fun flying the Hornet. In the second corner of the Tier 3 ring is the Vanduul Scythe. Cloaked in mystery, this interceptor is of an unknown manufacturer within Vanduul society. Looking at its specifications, the Scythe has 2 TR-4 engines, 12 TR-2 thrusters, a power plant and shield system with a capacity of 3 and 2 respectively, and 7 weapon hardpoints. One of those hardpoints is dedicated to a reinforced ramming blade, which was confirmed by Chris Roberts himself. The Scythe takes advantage of its speed and maneuverability to outperform its opponent. However, most of the weapons on the Scythe are not articulated, meaning targeting will be more difficult than a smart targeting system. Now that you've seen my choice picks for superior dogfighters in Star Citizen, let's make a choice between the Super Hornet and Vanduul Scythe. Both ships are amazing choices for your traditional dogfighter, and each offers a unique playstyle. The Super Hornet is not as fast or maneuverable as the Scythe, but makes up for it in defensive capabilities such as a stronger power plant and shield. The Scythe, on the other hand, sacrifices defensive capabilities for offensive power. Looking at them side by side, their advantages and disadvantages almost cancel each other out, as being direct superior to the other. That being said, my pick for Tier 3 is indeed a tie. Now hold on, I know that sounds like a cheap answer, but let me explain. As I said before, each ship cancels out the benefits of the other ship with their polar attributes. At the end of the day, the only choice to be made would be personal preference rather than hard numbers. This guide is meant to help players decide on which ship to buy based on subjective data, not my opinion. However, to not seem like a total cop-out, if I were to buy either of these ships, it would most likely be the Super Hornet. I already stated above that I don't like flying in glass cannons, and the rule would apply here as well. Please decide on either of these ships based on your playstyle. Either way, you're sure to have a lot of fun. That about wraps it up for my dogfighting star guide. If I were to be able to help a single person make a decision on what to buy, I feel like I've done my job. Before I let you go, I wanted to tell you why I excluded a few ships, so my comment section isn't flooded with, "Why didn't you include my ship?" As I said at the very start, I'm not including gunships, racers, bombers, or anything that is not considered what Chris Roberts considers a dogfighter. This includes the M50, the Cutlass, the Gladiator, and the Xi'an Scout Car-2, and the next generation starship, Mercenary Gunship. These are all great ships and serve their purposes, but are not meant for this guide. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope to see you soon for another Star Guide. My name is Byronic, and I'll see you in the verse.